guys, Work here. Welcome back to the bench. So tonight, I'm just cleaning up and wanted to cover something that had kind of been brought up in a couple of Facebook posts that I've been involved in. And this has happened especially since this most recent shooting down in Florida. So a common theme is the right of a person to decide when the life of another person should be taken. Now, I had seen commented here and there and had participated in a couple of conversations about how this guy didn't have the right to choose whether these people's lives should be ended or not. And somebody said something along the lines of, hey, aren't you a gun owner? And I said, yes. And they said, well, if you're a gun owner and you carry a gun and you get into a confrontation and you kill somebody, then what gave you the right to decide whether that person should live or die? And I've thought about this a lot before, but here's the thing, is if I ever get into a confrontation, and God forbid I have to utilize my firearm, then I'm not the one that made the decision that that person's life was worth the activity that they were doing. That the possibility of me having to take that life wasn't my choice. I was forced into that situation by another person who had decided for themselves whether or not their life was worth the thing that they were doing. If I'm put into the situation, I can guarantee you that I didn't get myself into that situation. I actively do whatever I can to avoid confrontation. That's one of the things that you have to be mindful of when you carry a firearm. And I actively try to avoid them. And because of that, any confrontation that could escalate to the point where a life could be lost is not going to be an escalation that I made. That's not going to be a decision that I made. I'm not the guy that decided whether or not to break into a home. I'm not the guy that decided whether or not to threaten someone's family. That's on them. And their decision to do that meant that they valued their life less than the activity that they were willingly participating in. And therefore, my conscience is clean as long as I'm not the instigator and I'm not somewhere where I shouldn't be. Then the odds are that I'm not the one that made that decision on whether that person's life had the possibility of ending at that moment in time. My responsibility is to my family and myself, to protect myself and those who have been put in my responsibility. Their safety and their lives trump those that might threaten them. And if you've made that choice to threaten them, then you've weighed that scale. You've done the math in your mind on whether or not that was worth it. And for me, that's enough. So that's it for this time, guys. Agree with me, disagree with me. I don't mind either way. The possibility of something like that happening weighs heavy on the hearts of most gun owners. None of us want to get into those situations, but you have to be mindful that those situations do exist, and that someday you may be forced to defend the decision that you had to make. And for me, knowing that my decision to protect myself and my family has already been made will help me perform my duties of protecting myself and those around me. Remember, guys, I appreciate every one of you, and until next time, do your research, get informed, and get to work.